Alright guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be loading up some ZINC 9mm rounds. And these were sent in recently by the ZINC Master, the ZINC Doctor. And we're just using some mixed brass Fiocchi primers, Winchester 244 powder here, and what is supposed to be a 147 grain bullet. Weighs about 90 grains, 91 in zinc. So I just looked up some data for 90 grain bullets, and all we have to do is find a seating depth that will fit in the gun. And I started with a minimum charge of 244. So let's just slowly work into it here. Make sure we knock that everywhere. What an idiot. Okay, we got her started. And so this is the Lyman 356 637. Like I said, normally 147 grains, so it is a much longer profile than like a 115 or whatever, or a 90 like we're using data for. That looks pretty long. I think if I get to at least 1.15, yeah, so right now, 1.156, I'll come down just a little bit more, and we should be good to fit into my PSA dagger. Oopsie. Okay, try that. We went just a hair short, but I think that'll be just fine. Let me crimp it up here, and we'll do the Plunk test. And there is my very first loaded up zinc. And here's my threaded dagger barrel. Falls right in. And it's actually long as hell. Yep, we're gonna have to come way down. See where this plane here on the barrel is? We need to bring the case head down to at least that. So it might fall in and out, but we're definitely smacking the rifling, which is binding here and catching and grabbing our bullet, which is not what we want. So good thing I just crimped that. That sucks. Let's go in a little bit more and hope it doesn't just scrape it up all to hell. I was hoping I wouldn't have to make a dummy round because I don't have too many of these projectiles, so I was just kind of trying to work it in slowly. Yep, still a little bit past it there. But luckily, zinc is actually like, I can't remember exactly, but 35-ish to 40 BHN compared to lead, which is like a hard lead linotype that's like 18 to 20. So this is twice as hard as what's considered, a pretty reasonably hard lead. So hopefully we're not scratching anything up here trying to seat this one that's already been seated and crimped. Still barely catching there. And this is also why I picked a minimum charge, because this projectile is going to be seated much deeper into the case there than a standard 90 grain projectile would. So if I went at the max charge, it would fill up the case, and now I'm seating that deeper. This would obviously create higher pressures. So, or it has the potential to at least. Okay, we're just barely working into it. Nice and slow. I think that's pretty close, but it's still, like the bullet should spin freely, but it's still grabbing the rifling just a little bit. And for the record, we're down to 1.097 inches. Let me actually grab the Glock 17 and see how that one feels. Okay, so our Glock is clear. There's nothing in our chamber. See if we can just plunk it down in here without taking it all apart. And actually, yeah. Yep. I think the dagger's just dirty as hell, and yeah, this is working just fine. So I think we're gonna go with that. Roughly 1.1, I think, is about where it'll end up. Yeah, 1.097. We can just call it 1.1 and come out maybe just a hair and then tighten down our little set screw lock ring thing up top. There we go, that should hold. I'm only doing 4 more. And I'm just going to hand feed the primers. These should have already been fully sized and prepped, but I'm just running them anyways to make sure everything gets squared away. And I say that, and that's an ugly case, but actually watch the magic of expanding. So notice how that case is kind of boogered up and bent inwards. Once we run the expanding mandrel through it, it's going to make that perfectly round. Like it was never an issue, unless it cracks. I don't think that'll happen though. Yeah, that looks like brand new, perfect. So there's our case fill. Not quite possible to double charge. It would be way obvious when you go to seat your bullet. I don't think it would be overflowing, but when you go to seat your bullet, it would be way compressed and quite obvious at that point. But you can see the case mouth, like I said, is now perfect and new. And that's quite a trumpety bell there, isn't it? But no cracks. We're going to be able to use this and load it, and that's all I really care about. So that's our charge of powder. Let me get our locator buttons back in. Don't you just love the hand cam? That's nice, right? And we'll seat our bullet. Yeah, that looks like freaking sweet, man. And yeah, if you couldn't really tell the difference, or if you didn't know any better, it looks pretty much like a normal lead, you know, a lead round. So we got a few more, and then we'll head out to the range. I'm gonna maybe try and set up a piece of paper, see if, you know, it'll group or whatever. I'm not sure really. I might just back up and blast the steel and then watch the target camera and see if anything interesting happens, like if it just fragments into a bunch of dust. That might be kind of fun to watch or something. I don't know. Oh shoot, we need a bullet before you go to run it up into the bullet seating die, dummy. All right. So once again, thanks to Mr. Dr. Z, the Zinc Master, because never loaded zinc before. But we've got some offerings for 38 Special or 357. I'll probably try it in instead, because my little snub nose doesn't seem to like 158 grain semi-wide cutter Keith style bullets. And I think this is actually a 170 grain mold with the original Keith style. But yeah, my little 2-inch barrel, or 1 7/8 inches, it does not stabilize those longer projectiles, so I have to stay at the 125 grain projectile mark. Never tried 148. Actually, yeah, I've tried 148 grain wad cutters. No good there. It's just too long. You know, the projectile is just too long for that spin rate, twist rate to stabilize it. Dang it. I'm struggling to get these primers in here. Thought it'd be quicker than loading up the tube with 5, but pretty much all of them went in upside down, so whoops. Once you get them going, this takes no time at all. Alright. Final crimp. Oh yeah, girl. Alright, so we've got 5 test rounds. But take a look at the top of these. Whoopsie. Is my carbide sizing die scratched all to hell? Like you can see where it sized down the mouth of the cases, and it looks like maybe those got scratched up with some dirt or some gunk at one point. And now it leaves those nice scratches on every single piece of brass I run through it. Even when I do brand new starline. This is a piece of once fired starline, but you can still see that top section where my die made it ugly. Anyways, let's head out to the range. I'm going to get a little paper target so we can maybe shoot a group, I guess. So anyways, let's get on out to the range. We'll test these rounds. But these should be moving maybe 1,200 feet per second, which is on the slow end. I think we can push them up to 13 or maybe 14 or something silly like that, maybe out of the longer Glock barrel from the Glock 17, with it being a full size. But I don't even have a chronograph, so we won't even know. But it'll be kind of fun to shoot and test anyways. But let's get on out to the range. Alright guys, we're out here. I've got a magazine of some lead here just to warm up on the target, and then I'll shoot our 5 rounds of zinc over on the paper there on that bottom target, and we'll see how I can actually get them to group. But we're just going to shoot the steel for now and see how we do there. I think we're sufficiently warmed up. Let's try some zinc on the paper. And now we're going to try our zinc on the bottom target of the paper back there. Let's take a look at our brass really quick, make sure we weren't over pressure with a weird bullet length and all that. Well, that's a lost cause trying to find the brass, but you guys keep an eye out for me. We'll see if we can gather any of the others after these next 4. Well, that second piece is in the oblivion somewhere. I'm just going to try the next string. We've got a failure to feed here. I'm going to blame the Amend 2 magazine as always. And there we go. All right, let's go take a look at the target. All right, looking pretty good here. There's 4 of them inside the circle here, and then I threw one low, but there we go at about 10 to 12 yards with the PSA dagger, and that was the 91 grain zincer. Very nice. Let's take this back inside. I'll try and find some of the brass, and we'll do a recap. Alrighty guys, we're back inside. We were able to recover 4 of the pieces of brass, and they actually look pretty good. No weird pressure marks or anything like that, just your standard striker fire 9mm action there. And that was a clean burn. Couple of pebbles of powder left in there, but otherwise it's sealed properly. And I want to run these over the chronograph and see how fast they're moving. The brass didn't end up ejecting very far, but it did cycle. The only issue we had was with that Amend 2 magazine, which I always have issues with, so that's no fault of the ammunition. But as we see here, once again, 4 inside the dot and then 1 down low that I pulled. Pretty good stuff for myself, just shooting offhand. I think I was maybe 12-ish or maybe 15 yards at the most. It looks like these are flying straight. There's no keyholing or anything like that going on. They grouped up pretty well, I would say. And so far, the zinc is looking pretty good. Thanks again, Mr. Andy79Z28. I'll probably load up a few more of these and eventually run them over the chronograph, but I want to try one of them in the 350 Legend and see how fast those get moving. Anyways, thanks for hanging out, guys, and we will see you in the next video. Have a good one!